welcome to Quantum Canine. I'm Tricia Selba.
Good morning, Tricia.
This
Kevin.
Kevin Behan, natural dog trainer, inventor of everything we're talking about.
All right.
And today we're going to start with a question, and I thought I'd hand this one to you. Do dogs think?
No. But I'm not saying they're not intelligent. I'm saying their intelligence isn't a function of thinking. I believe that they're immediate moment animals that go by emotion and what they feel. And I have a different definition of emotion and feelings. It touches on what mainstream stuff is, but I don't attach a thought to emotion or feelings. And I think that's the error that people are now making about those two, about that. I have a completely energetic theory of animal behavior. It's an immediate moment.
But people often say, well, the dog knows that it's not supposed to go in the garbage, and I turn my back, and the dog knows that my back is turned, so it's thinking about, and that's why it goes in the garbage when my back is turned. You know, they read thinking into the behavior of the dogs,
Right.
and you're saying that's not what's happening.
No, he can feel, wherever your eyes are directed, creates pressure in this new way of looking at emotion, or my way of looking at emotion. So when your eyes are, wherever your eyes are directed, they feel it as a lessening or increasing of pressure. So if you're looking at something, especially if you're amplifying that by pointing, they're feeling drawn to that high pressure area, the high concentration of energy area. It's a prediction of where energy is going to be in their emotional makeup.
Let me ask you even a bigger question.
Whereas, if you look at them, then they feel that as a pressure directed at them, and that will have all these amplifying effects within them.
So you were able to see this, but let me ask you this. Why do we, as human beings, always have to read thinking into what dogs, or even any animals,
Well,
why do we have to do that?
For a lot of reasons. One is nature is a mirror, which is really what quantum mechanics is showing us, is that the quantum realm reflects the intention, the expectation built into a quantum experiment or a quantum measurement.
So you're saying that when somebody's watching an experiment, their actual presence in the experiment, it affects the experiment?
Affects, yeah,
right,
affects
the outcome?
Okay. What photons and electrons
Right.
and protons do, even atoms. So that is also true on a macro scale, energetically. And on a macro scale, the big world, that supposedly doesn't work by quantum mechanics, supposedly, but emotion is how energy affects this macro world, the world of big objects that moves slowly.
So why does that mean we always have to think that, or why we always
Well,
suppose that
that's one
animals are
reason.
thinking?
Okay, because we think everything can think.
I see.
It's
I
a
see.
mirror. But also is we are afraid of emotion because it's an energy you cannot control any more than you can control gravity.
I see.
So the brain wants to have everything compartmentalized, put into known patterns, because its number one function is survival, safety. So when things don't fit boxes, the brain, the intellect, feels very unsure, and or thinks very unsure, and it doesn't like that. So its greatest fear is emotion, which is why we have so many pejorative concepts about emotion. That we see somebody acting crazy, we say they're emotional. We really should say they're instinctual. They're not emotional whatsoever. So there's a lot of things. Once you start to read the dog completely in terms of the immediate moment, that factors out thoughts. And if you're able to see the logic in the moment, then you're going to start seeing a whole other dynamic playing out over days, weeks, months, years. The whole dog's life becomes one continuum, and you can see the discrete points where his energy evolved from this state to that state, and it makes a lot more sense than reading thoughts into it. You know, a long time ago, physicists had to invent ether to explain how energy was transmitted from the sun to the earth and the moon and the earth, and it wasn't until until Einstein when they actually proved there was no ether. Therefore, energy could be transmitted directly. So thoughts are, I call it the mental ether. We are reading in. The only way these animals can learn over time and learn at a distance, it must be thoughts. So we reflexively our intellect reads that into it when it's not happening.
It's the only thing we can come up with, and it's sort of our default setting when we feel unsafe.
It makes us feel safe.
Right,
yeah.
right. And one of the great things that you've said about immediate moment and how dogs are is when we're having an incredible, wonderful time, and we're just really happy, we're just totally in the moment. You're saying that's really how dogs experience the world.
Everything. Always that way.
Right.
A moment is forever. They have no thought, no idea how things happen.
So if we want to get into how a dog experiences the world, we just get into when we're just feeling completely taken away by some emotional state, joy or...
You can make a serious study of it. Whenever we are attached to an energy system, even driving a car, being on a seesaw or a swing, your emotional mind is running the show. So if you were to factor out all thoughts, you could parse apart emotion from instinct, thoughts from feeling, and then you can start to see what's really happening.
What the dog is
and that's how the dog is all the time. And if you're willing to subscribe to that and suspend all your familiar frames of reference, if you were able to suspend it and say, well, what the heck, let me make a little experiment. I'm going to forget everything I think I know. I'm not going to read a thought into anything, because those thoughts come with a lot of judgments. So we see a dog want to bite us, we read intention. You know, my first breakthrough was when I was a kid learning to feed dogs with my dad. He had me start to feed them, and there's 100 dogs, and I thought they were going to eat me. I was 9 years old. I thought they were going to eat me alive. And he's trying to, no, they don't want to bite you. They just want the food. So it took me a long time to realize they were just attracted to me. They didn't have any intention. That was like my breakthrough. And then I realized the more they were attracted to me, the more leverage I have. So this is the same thing I do when a dog wants to bite me. I say to myself, well, he's attracted to me. He has no intention of hurting me. And yeah, I could get hurt if I don't know what I'm doing. But I actually have emotional leverage over him if I knew how to tap into that.
So saying that reading intention into dog is reading thoughts into dogs.
Right.
So we'll just leave the audience with the experiment of trying to suspend thoughts, trying to not read into just for the heck of it.
Right, and you can just analyze what you feel, or not analyze, but
feel it.
Pick
maybe.
up, just feel what you feel, and let the thoughts just come and go. They're not valid.
Well, that'll be interesting. I'd like to hear from people if they're able to do that for even a moment.
Good.
Well, we took a great trip down to Putney, down across from the Great Meadow.
Yep.
Which was, interestingly enough, where all the British fleet used to get their mass for their ships.
Yeah, it's a site of great historical interest to me. I read the book Not Without Peril, and I unfortunately forget her name, but a great, very fascinating woman, pioneer woman, one of the first settlers in this area.
And she went through
how they eked out a living, farming with the
unbelievable.
muskets on their backs and the Indian raids. And so this particular area is called the Great Meadow, and it was, one of its features was it had these amazing trees, first growth trees that the English Navy needed for masts. So it was to their great rue that they couldn't cut these things down and make the field bigger. But it was a natural field that they could cultivate without having to clear it. They could even, those trees were so tall that they could even plant underneath the trees. There was enough sun they could get through.
It's amazing to try to imagine the trees. And this house we went to was actually built by the woman who wrote the book, Not Without Peril, which
very
is
fascinating.
So we visited David Martel, and he, introduced his dogs to us, and that's what we'll be watching now. And we'll see what magic Kevin did.
Okay, Ringo is the male. He's about 3 years old. He's a mellow dog, doesn't have an outwardly killer instinct, but he tends to wander off. He's less receptive to being recalled, but generally he's the mellow, go out for a walk and come and lie down for most of the day dog. I'd say I'm looking for is some way to become, I guess I'd say, more the center of their attention, so they'd be more receptive to, hey guys, time to chill out. Hey, there's no need to go up on the counter. They'll come back when they're called, or they don't necessarily feel the need to run off. But just some way for me to become the center of their attention, as opposed to the need to get their energy out elsewhere.
Hi, Kevin.
Good afternoon, Fish.
We're here in Putney, Vermont, the home of David and Amon Martel. They have 2 really great dogs, and Kevin's going to work with them and show them what's going on. What's going on with these dogs, and what are you going to be showing us?
Well, David's explained a few issues. Basically, everything boils down to energy going in the wrong direction. So I'm just gonna start to get to know him today and see what Dave's been doing with him, and hopefully fine tune it so we can once we get the energy going in the right direction, then they're available for learning all the stuff that we need them to learn to live with us in peace and harmony.
Great. And David's fantastic because he's already sort of on board with the whole idea.
Okay.
So he's like a willing.
So I don't have to beat the paradigm out of his head.
Right, that's right.
Okay,
That's right. Okay, great. So we'll meet the dogs.
We'll be ready. I'll just take my leash on him. Yeah, come on. Oh, nice. Come on. Good. Yeah, good. How old are they again? 3. So yeah, losing right there. We want to take that push energy. He doesn't know what the goal is yet. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. This is like the electrical contact that you have in the battery. See how strong he's pushing?
Yeah.
Good. So when there's electrical current like that, that makes a magnetic field that I'm now tapping into by how I position. It's just as if you can feel a little magnetic repulsion. He's pushing his head back a little bit. He's settling. It's as if I'm pushing energy magnetically back into his gut. So he's collecting his rear end. That's why you see him sitting.
So what are you trying to achieve then?
I'm trying to get that energy that ran through the door focused into synchronized physical behavior.
So when does he get his reward?
Well, see how I zing it into him? For being synchronized with me. And I'm making him settle back onto his rear end to get the food.
And he's synchronizing with...
See how he's synchronized with me, walking?
So he's synchronizing your steps.
Right.
Or your speed.
He's aligned with me like I'm a magnet and he's a bar.
Right, okay. So when he's jumping...
It goes away.
Food
goes away. And then I put it right into my center. And it vibrates like a little prey animal that's almost ready to fly away. Watch.
Got it.
Whoops, it goes away. So that's magnetic repulsion.
And you're waiting for just that right moment when...
Yeah, when he settles and he's really... He wastes energy by jumping like that. He's wasting energy. If he stays composed, collected, focused, aligned, this is how I position his food. Main thing is to keep him attracted. Nice. Good. Then if I want to make, this has got to be deer energy. Ready? Good. Right there. This is he's feeling energy working in his body that eventually I'm going to associate with words. He'll sit down. But until I get the energy, I'm communicating through manipulating how energy works in his body.
And so when you're doing the circle walk and you're synchronizing with him or having him synchronize to you, you gradually go for a longer and longer duration.
Yeah,
you want to get right to that edge.
Yeah, right. Build up the stamina.
Right.
Learning in animals is a muscle. Ready? How much energy can he handle in the down? They learn a lot about stay by when to release. All he's got to do, inside him is an efficiency expert. The less I do, the more I get. Just laying here, wow, look at that. Comes right to me. I don't have to do nothing. That's really important to have a dog that knows that. The less I do, the more I get. Sort of like knowing when to really scramble to get the loose ball, but when you're an accomplished athlete, you don't have to. You don't vibrate when it's not really relevant to where you wait for the right moment. Yeah, that's efficiency. He needs that food to feel that magnet. If I put the food away too soon, I lose the magnetic pull. Good boy, come on. Yeah. Eventually, your words of praise will trigger magnetism. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, fine. He's good. Come on, come on, come on. Let me see. Let me see. The second brain is a little brain that's got enteric nervous system. And that's, we think of it as digestion site, but it's really about feedback. Putting stuff in the gut so you get feedback on what's happening out there. So when I connected his two brains by pushing with the food, that's a strong electrical current, and a strong electrical current makes a magnetic field. That's why the Earth has a magnetic field, because there's liquid metal in the core generating electricity, according to one theory. So that magnetism then allows him to know how to align with me, just as pigeons, homing pigeons, know how to go home and navigate the Earth. That orientation kept evolving into, I believe, social behavior. The ability for animals to circumnavigate the globe magnetically kept going into advanced social systems, in my opinion. So that's what we're getting at.
The beginning of the thought was to create that magnetic charge.
The electric contact, so you get the magnetic charge.
Through the electric contact with the food and the push.
Yeah.
And then you become the center of that.
Yes. You're the generator.
That creates the orbit or the...
Yeah.
Okay, so...
See what you can do? Good. Now touch him. There you go. There. Use your left hand. Now like blocking. Your left hand like this. Go like this. Walk in. Now you want to load energy. You haven't focused on the food, you wouldn't focus. You focus with your eyes. Get yourself into the voice position. Left hand like this. Get your hand ready to pray. Voice is steady. So all voice is slow. He wasn't fixating up on the food. Food had to be low up. Ready. This time we'll do ready to show what he's going to come to. Go. Now you're going to call him this time by name. So do another ready. Get the food out. You got to get focused on the food. Make it go, bring go. Call him and back up. Bring go. Yes. Go ahead. Okay, that is rubber duck.
Well, that was really great.
You know, Tricia, I can see why people could get confused by what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I can too. And the one thing I sort of picked out was people could watch that and think you were rewarding behavior.
Right,
and one of the things that has to be pointed out is that David has done a lot of reward-based training, before this with those dogs. But in a moment of crisis, he had no control.
Right.
And so he was looking to how to really get in and get under there, and he was open to hearing what you had to say, and he was able to get past that whole reward, seeing it as rewarding behavior, because it could look like that to somebody.
Right.
But what you're doing is you're you're moving the energy in the direction towards the owner. That's your goal, right? Is that your primary goal, is to move the energy?
Well, yeah, energy works as a force of attraction, so get the animal attracted.
Okay.
And if you objectify the attraction...
Through the food as prey.
Food as the goal of prey.
Okay.
And then the relationship of the food to the handler begets the energy that goes through all these phases that we're familiar with. The gravity becomes electric, becomes magnetic.
Okay, let me see if I can restate that. The food in your hand, its relationship to yourself, if you're doing the training, that affects the energy that the dog is expressing to you.
Right.
Okay.
It starts out as a simple pull of attraction emotion, like gravity. But the relationship of the object to the human, the handler,
right,
allows it to evolve from gravity into electric, which is the pushing part of what we did, and then it goes into magnetic, which allowed the dog to synchronize with the owner. And at this point, the owner can learn how to manipulate that magnet so the dog is walking in parallel, just like he's a bar of metal being pulled by a magnet. And if you start to lose the current, you show the food, that rekindles the whole matrix, the relationship again, like juice up the system again. But you don't want to give the dog the food for doing the behavior per se, because that could knock him right out of that state of attunement. And that state of attunement is held in the heart of the dog, and that's a muscle. You have to build it up so you can see the dog get into it and then lose it and then get into it and lose it. But little by little, the dog's learning, wow, the less I do, the more I get. And he's just feeling this non-cognitive pull that's very precise, how to align with the owner, but it's not mental.
Now, would I be incorrect if I said that this whole system that you're talking about right now is what a wolf does with the prey animal when they're hunting?
Exactly.
You're just imitating that. And one fantastic thing you've showed me is how to do this right from the beginning with a puppy. And we have a clip of you working with Hero, the puppy, and how you're working with the magnet inside of her, not even using food, but just using your body language. And that is the sort of the building block of... Yeah,
puppies are so close to temperament, pure emotion, that the magnetism just happens spontaneously. They're just so... they use their jaws, they grab you. They grab anything that moves because they're basically a magnet.
Well, why don't we show this clip and you can talk over it and tell us what you're doing here with the magnet inside of Hero.
And the stronger the magnet, the more energy can go through the dog's body/mind.
So here you were hiding. She found you.
Now she wants to run back to everybody.
Right, there's a whole bunch of people behind the camera.
Right, and she wants to go see him. So I'm increasing how much energy I transmit by running, and my body language gets goofy, you could call it, but that's actually prey-like.
When you're getting all limbery.
Yeah, I'll get kind of loosey-goosey as we go here. So I'm about to lose her.
Because there's children.
There's children ahead, so I go into a little bit of prey mode, running away, flopping my arms in an exaggerated way, and that gets the battery cooking, and she just wants to follow me. I can't shape it too precisely because I don't have an object, but I just want to increase her magnetic, and the payoff for her is all that touching, which is magnetic. When you rub a piece of steel with a silk, you magnetize it, and that's really why dogs love to be petted. So she can't resist that pull to me, because every time she loses contact with me, she turns around and create that little bit of imprint. Then you can use your hands to say, no, don't project into me right now. And the puppy can, they put out a ping, it bounces right back. So, all right, that's not for me, I'll leave you alone.
So she's just going by feel completely. You can see that, how you're manipulating her.
Right.
Now
maybe you were hiding.
Now she's looking for me.
Right, okay. I think this actually preceded what I did. This is what you started doing. And I was trying to coach you to do what I just did. I think we have an inverse sequence here.
Yeah.
So now you're walking along, and all of a sudden, you're going to lose contact with her. She's going to run ahead. And I think I was telling you, okay, now turn around.
Turn around and run away, right.
And I don't think you heard me.
Obviously, I didn't hear you. Now I heard you.
So she's going to come over, make contact with everybody, and Now, she's not leaving you in her mind.
No, she's just going to
towards
everybody
something.
else,
It's a function of attraction.
People think that, oh, the puppy ran away from me.
So now, it's as if there's an invisible line attached to you and her, this magnetic force field. And after a few moments of being around us, she's missing something. She can feel the pull on it, but there's nothing there, so she goes to look for it. And that's what we got to increase. We got to keep that magnet alive in our dog and work with it rather than just let it atrophy or actually abuse it and drive it out underground. Then the magnet pulls them to things that we don't want them to have. There you go. And she's just, part of her is still connected to you, and then soon, we'll miss it, but she's going to notice her in the other way.
Yeah, we played that game for a while where I ran away, and I'm doing that more in the woods. And so people with puppies, a lot of times what we hear is, oh, they were great with a recall, and then they just unlearned it. They just forgot it.
Right.
But what you're saying and what we're seeing here is that they have that.
The magnet got weaker.
Right, and I'm seeing that with Hero. She's starting to, things are a little bit more interesting over there. And you're saying as dog owners, it's not really about going to puppy kindergarten, but it's more about keeping that magnet.
Right. No bad behavior can come from magnetic, only from electric. So if your magnet is really strong, if your dog is sensual, he cannot do something dysfunctional. He can't bite anybody. He can't run away. He will always adapt to the moment if he's got this strong magnet.
So really raising a puppy is all just about keeping that magnetic connection with your puppy alive, and it's not about anything else, even though we think it's about a million trillion other things.
The more the puppy that gets into adulthood, the happier and the healthier the dog.
That's wonderful. Well, great. That's all for our show today. We covered a lot of topics and more interesting things to come next time. Thank you very much.
Thanks
for watching.